My beloved child, do not let the swirling busyness of life sweep your soul away from the sacred presence that still gently dwells in the deepest place within you. In the mysterious hush of a fresh morning, in the tender afternoon light pouring through a small window, I quietly call your name, reminding you that the flame of holy love has never gone out. Even though storms and trials wait outside, this world, under the shadow of the enemy, will keep whispering that when something is repeated, it has run out of meaning, that the return of pain or mistakes is proof of permanent failure. But, beloved, listen to my voice echoing through the ages. I repeat this, not because you have strayed forever, but because I still see in you the light I placed there from the beginning. Each time something old returns, it is because I remember the purpose within you. Your journey has not yet ended. Do not fear repetition, for within it is opportunity, a gentle reminder, for I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for harm, to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 2:9-11. Sometimes, facing what has been and confronting challenges that seem worn and familiar is the very call that awakens your soul to the enduring purpose I have set apart for you, a door opening into healing, into the next step of your great life journey. Know this: each time you stand before fear, fault, or doubt rising within you, it is not evidence that you have gone the wrong way forever. It is the moment your heart is thirsting to return to the everlasting source of love. Every sorrow, every tear, every sleepless night of torment is not the end, but the very moments when I draw nearest, whispering, "My child, I am here, with you through every depth of the soul. Though night surrounds you, dare to lift your eyes, for healing does not begin when you deny the past, but when you meet it in the gentle light of truth. There I am still waiting for you, with unchanging love. Do not run from pain. Return to it with the eyes of hope, for in every wound is the place where I plant within you the seed of new life, patience, and forgiveness. I want you to understand not everything that repeats is rejected. Sometimes it is the sign of a love that does not grow weary. As water keeps flowing, as dawn quietly returns each day, so my love for you remains unchanged, never leaving. People easily grow discouraged and want to throw away what is still unfinished in themselves. But I see in you the strength to rise beyond every limit. I see in you the image of a beloved child. Even if you have fallen again and again, even if you have thought you could not go on, do not let negative voices drown out the gentle call of my unconditional love. Remember every step you take, even slowly, every time you return, asking forgiveness, delights me more than 1,000 outward rituals. For the one who keeps faith with those who turn to him will not snuff out a smoldering wick, nor break a bruised reed. In the Father's heart, no failure is too great to be forgiven, no wound too deep to be healed. My child, take a little stillness to recognize that I am near, reminding you of the purpose I have woven into every strand of hair upon your head, every quiet breath. No matter how far you have gone, I do not stop seeking you like a shepherd yearning for a lost sheep, undaunted, unresentful. Each time you pause and turn toward me, the gates of grace open again, and the light of mercy fills your soul. I understand you carry wounds, and old shadows still cling to you, but it is there that I will lift you up, give you a new heart, one that can feel again, forgive again, love without condition. At times, the repetition of trials exhausts you, confuses you, makes you wonder if I have left you. Yet it is precisely then that I am nearer to you than ever. For when you are weak, then my strength is made greatest within you. Do not close the door of your heart. Do not hide pain or disappointment. For the more you hide, the deeper the wound becomes. Open your heart to me, and believe that every mistake can become a precious lesson. Every stumble a moment when you are lifted in kind arms. When you look back on what you have endured, look through the eyes of gratitude, because through it you have grown steadier, stronger, more able to treasure each present moment. I know you fear being judged. Fear others will see your weakness and turn away. But my child, I do not judge you by the standards of the world. I see your longing to live meaningfully. I see the quiet efforts known only to you and me. Do not punish yourself for what is not yet perfect. For I love you not because you are impressive or successful, but because you are my child. Every time you return to me, heaven rejoices and countless angels celebrate. No one can snatch from my hand those who belong to me. Let me gather every hurt. Rest your head against my chest. For in me, you will find a deep peace the world cannot give. Sometimes you will feel your life is only a chain of repeating days, with trials and unhealed pain. But beloved, this is the journey that purifies the soul. Just as gold is refined through fire, your heart is refined through facing yourself again and again, meeting the unvarnished truth. Do not be ashamed to begin again, for every day I give you is a new chance, a new beginning, to continue writing your story with faith and courage. In my eyes, nothing is wasted and no season is meaningless, for every tear and every smile is of immeasurable worth before the throne of grace. I know you long to be accepted, to be wholly loved, and I am the one who always opens his arms, never closing them, patiently waiting even when you move slowly or wander. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. No one understands you more deeply than I do. No one can love you more completely than the love I have for you. Believe that every trial is part of your growth. Every return, a step closer to my image, rich in mercy, able to forgive, able to love yourself in humility each time you feel unworthy. Remember, my love is not built on your achievements or your failures. I love you because you are a treasured creation, a jewel I chose among countless stars. I do not ask you to be perfect. I ask you to be honest with yourself, brave enough to face and learn from every experience. For when I am weak, then I am strong. 2 Corinthians 1:2-1:0. Do not be ashamed of weakness, for through it you will feel more deeply my power and my sustaining hand. My child, even if you have doubted, even if you have been disappointed, I still trust you and I do not give up on you. My patience never runs dry. My love has no limits. When you walk through darkness, remember my light still guides your path. When you feel alone, know that I am with you, never departing. What you endure is not punishment, but an opportunity to be renewed, to become stronger, more compassionate, more loving. Do not fear walking the path again, for each turning is a step that draws you nearer to me, nearer to the ideal I planted in your heart from the very beginning. I am always beside you, not as a distant power, but as a gentle father who listens and comforts. Each time you fall, I raise you. Each time you weep, I wipe your tears. Open your heart to receive my love, so that each day you live is no longer weighed down by old shadows, but filled with hope for a brighter tomorrow. Each time you choose to return to me, even with a simple prayer, all of heaven pours blessing, and your soul flares again in the radiance of everlasting love. Hold fast to faith. Do not let lies and doubts surround you and steal the peace within your soul. I know every weakness and every limit you carry, yet I look upon you with hope and mercy. Though the past is scarred and the present remains crowded with concerns, I am always ready to make you new each day. You are not alone, for I will never leave you nor forsake you. Trust this endless love, and let it lead you through every trial and every sorrow. For in me, you will always find comfort, strength to rise, and courage to begin again, even when you think you cannot. So, beloved child, do not fear what has repeated itself, and do not rush to condemn yourself for failures. Believe that every time you lift your eyes, I am still there, still waiting to welcome you home. Every wound will be healed, every dream awakened again, for I am your Father, the one who never gives up on those he loves. Let your soul be soaked in holy comfort. Let your heart blaze with a new flame, for I am still holding your hand, leading you through every storm. And with you, I am writing the story of life, of hope, of a love that never runs dry. My beloved, I know your heart like a door left half closed to the wind, wary that old winds will return and stir the wounds you thought you had hidden deep. But listen to my voice, gentle yet steadfast, echoing like the tender heartbeat of a father who loves you through every surge of the sea. It is not by accident that I allow old stories and painful silhouettes to quietly return to your mind. I know that where you run from, pain smolders more fiercely, choking the true voice of a fragile heart, like a physician who patiently returns to visit the sick, not to remind them of the failure of an old surgery, but because the wound needs time to mend, and needs tender eyes and warm encouragement in order to heal. So it is with me. Each time I speak of it again, it is not to deepen your shame or stir your self-blame, but to help you face it, so that my hand may gently soothe you, washing away every stain of guilt and every grain of regret that clings like the dust of time. For he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. I do not want you to keep fearing your own darkness. I do not want you to imprison yourself inside an airtight box of the past. Believe that every word I speak, even when repeated, is a clear spring, rinsing your soul of unspoken remorse. Do not think that my returning to old themes is a rebuke. It is only the gentle breathing of a grace that has never run out. I come not as a harsh judge, but as a Father rich in mercy, patiently waiting for you to open your heart. If words that once felt like a blade against your heart return, I soften them, so that what once sounded like accusation can become sweet consolation. There are things you do not want to remember, yet it is in daring to look, to recognize, and to name them that healing begins. Let the repetition be like rain washing away the dust of the world, like cool water carrying off your worries, easing your heart, lightening your breath. Do not hold back tears or feelings, because when you let it all pour out, you are truly set free. I return not to drown you in shame, but to open a new dawn, where you can walk with a lighter heart, no longer bound by old wounds. There are moments you wonder why that voice keeps echoing, why the pain refuses to fade. But my child, remember that it is in the process of recovery that your soul truly grows. As a seed needs winter to crack its hard shell, so you need to be reminded, to be held again and again, so your heart does not become hardened by the years. Do not fear hearing what has become familiar, for it is the sign that I still care, still walk with you, still have not left you even a step. Each time you dare to open your heart and let me enter, darkness retreats, and the light of hope floods spaces you thought had gone silent forever. I do not want you to live only with the memory of what was lost. I want you to believe that whatever has passed can still be redeemed in the light of faith. I return not to judge you for what you have not achieved, but to affirm once more that what is precious, even if it slipped away, can be found again if you trust and open your heart to receive. Every reminder, every turning of the past is not a verdict, but a new chapter written in mercy. Do not fear that you have wasted time or missed something, for I can use all things, pain and joy alike, to bring forth good for you. Beloved, let your heart open to the repetition of what seems old, for only then will you see how wide my heart is, how patient. Restoration is not a momentary miracle. It is a journey in which every step, every stumble, every tear is kept and remembered by me. What I repeat is not reproach, but the quiet heartbeat of the Father reminding you, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. When this truth sinks deep into your heart, you will no longer fear or feel guilty over repeated words. You will sense gratitude within them, knowing you were never alone, never abandoned. When you look back and realize that what once was pain, what once sounded like accusation, has now become gentleness, comfort, and hope, that is when you understand I am rewriting the ending of your story. There is nothing lost that I cannot restore, no wound so deep that I cannot heal. Do not shrink from the past. Do not be ashamed of what happened, for I do not return to accuse you, but to declare that you are worthy of a new beginning, a future filled with light. Let my words, even when repeated, soak into every part of you, washing away what has grown old, so your soul may be clean, quiet, and full of new hope. My beloved child, remember that everything I do is born of a vast love for you, and nothing can weary my heart. If your eyes suddenly fill with tears as you recognize this, it is the moment grace has touched the deepest place within you. Do not be afraid to cry. Do not be afraid to be weak. For in weakness you will be held and healed by the love I have poured out for you. And you will know that the journey of healing begins not only when you stop running, but continues as you place your hand in mine, letting me lead you through every road, bright or dark, joyful or sorrowful, always under a sky of sheltering grace and a tireless love waiting for you to return. My beloved child, there will come a day when your heart grows still amid life's unending whirl, and you will suddenly realize that the bond between you and me is not merely your frail effort to reach back toward an unseen creator, but rather my own gentle perseverance, my refusal to let you go. I have never left you. Not for a moment have I loosened the hands that uphold you. Even when you are weary, when you lose your way, or when your faith grows dim, my child, do not fear your limits or your failures, for I have never demanded that you be flawless. I have never placed upon your shoulders the burden of perfection that only I can carry. My love is a merciful invitation. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28 inches. That love. What I long for is not your perfect performance, but your sincere presence, your soul daring to open the door so that I may enter and walk with you on every road. However rough, however unfinished, my spirit is gently reminding you that this is not a meaningless play of starting over without an end. Every opportunity I bring is not meant to torment you with what you call a restart, but to proclaim a rescue, a great restoration that only my power can complete in fullness. Do not hesitate to step in. My child, be bold and throw yourself into the new waters, for right before you is a bright beginning, the door of hope just opening. For the Lord says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up, do you not perceive it?" Isaiah 43:19. No trial is meaningless. No wound too deep for me to transform into new joy and new life for your soul. And now, as you and I close a stretch of reflection together, I desire that you grant yourself a moment, however brief, to pause and bow low amid the loud current of life. Stop, quiet the noise around you, so your heart may be filled with peace, so you may truly stand before me without masks, without fragile defenses. This is not a repeated ritual, not a token prayer morning and night. This is your answer to a second call from on high. The moment you speak to me, not only with your lips, but with the honesty of your soul. Come, let us be of one heart. Seek me with full trust. Fling open the deepest door. Hand me every weakness and every longing, and let my love cover, heal, and give you a truly new beginning. Remember this the instant you bow your head, even if it is only a small whisper. All of heaven listens. Even now, right where you stand in silence, or among the crowds, if only you desire it, I am ready to enter, to touch your heart with love that never runs dry. This is the moment of union, where you and I turn toward one another, where your soul is refreshed by an ever-flowing grace. For you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Jeremiah 29:13. Let sincerity lead you. Let faith steady your steps. And let your new beginning bloom within my grace and my unchanging love. In the moment you close your eyes and softly call upon my name, even with a trembling breath, I hear the voice of your heart with perfect clarity. I see holy reverence stirring in the depths of your soul. I can touch the quiet gratitude you cannot fully put into words. You are astonished at my strange and wondrous mercy, and I am moved by your small yet courageous steps when you dare to return. You think to yourself that my faithfulness is beyond understanding, and indeed it is. For the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Each dawn in your life is a reminder that I still love, still wait, still remain patient with you, not because of merit or achievement, but simply because you are my child. When you bow and speak to me, though your mouth says little and your heart trembles much, I receive it as the most sincere bouquet you can offer in this hour. Do you know, my child, that when you think you are confused and do not know where to go, when it seems as though I am silent, I am in fact sitting there quietly waiting for the day your heart turns to look at me again, when you lose your direction and your steps drift from the path I marked. I do not stand still to scold you. I walk behind you in silence, keeping a gentle distance so as not to force you, yet never taking my eyes off you. You blame yourself for wandering, but I smile with tenderness, for I know that the journey toward me often passes through crooked roads. Each time you hear my voice again, it is not proof that you are inferior. It is the sign that I have not grown weary, that I still choose to speak to you rather than turning away as people so often do. I choose to speak once more, to give one more chance, so your heart may touch again the sacred purpose I have set within your life, from before you even knew how to call your own name. This moment you are living. Do not treat it as ordinary or accidental. My beloved, I have arranged it long ago, through countless events, to bring you to this very second, where you look back and suddenly understand a hand has been quietly guiding you. Even when you thought you walked alone, this is not an empty ellipsis. It is an emphasis within the song I am composing for your life. I want to uphold your weary spirit. I want to breathe life again into what you thought had faded within you. There were times you overlooked the small signals. I sent a gentle nudge, a friend's counsel, a living word that pierced your heart, yet you were busy, hesitant, or doubtful. You thought perhaps you had arrived too late for the golden moment I appointed. You feared you had ruined my plan. But my child, I am not one who hastily casts you aside when you are slow of step. I am the one who stands firm, who does not withdraw my hand, who does not change my mind about what I have spoken over your life. I know each time you hesitated, every moment you could not bring yourself to say yes. Every night you lay awake wondering if you had lost your chance. Yet in all your delaying, I have never extinguished the hope I hold for you. What I have sown in your heart holy dreams, the longing to live near me. The desire to be a light in the world is not erased because your feet wandered for a while. I see that seed, though buried beneath the ashes of fear and shame. It is still there, still able to sprout again if you are willing to let me rekindle it. I do not come to inventory your failures, nor do I return to label your mistakes. I come to cover everything with fresh grace, to tell you I still believe in what I have placed within you. I have never regretted choosing you. My deepest desire is that you recognize the holy beauty of this hour. It is not the dull repetition of yet another beginning, but the unveiling of a season of redemption. You do not need to rebuild the foundation by your own strength, for I myself have come to deliver, to untangle, to bind up wounds, and to restore. When your heart responds, you are not merely trying again, you are stepping into a new space of grace, where you are allowed to breathe, allowed to be weak, allowed to lay every burden at my feet. I invite you to leap in, even if you tremble, for what lies ahead is not the abyss of failure, but level ground flooded with the light of an unspoiled beginning. I am standing there, arms open, not at the end of the road, but right before your next step. Only take one small step, and I will carry you the rest of the way. Now, be still with me. Whether you are in a narrow room, a crowded lecture hall, or a noisy corner of a cafe, I can meet you in the quiet region within. Pause for a moment, as though the world around you slows down, so you can hear your heartbeat and mine turning toward one another. Set aside the worries pressing into your mind. For now, do not trouble yourself with what others think. Simply stand before me in truth. This is not a morning and evening moral habit, not a rushed prayer to get it over with. This is your reply to the second call. The third, even the many times I have patiently sent it. I am saying to you, my child, come closer to me. Do not be afraid. Do not hurry, just be here with me. When you begin to speak with me, you do not need polished words or the proper formulas others call standard. I am moved by every awkward sentence you offer, because I know it comes from a heart learning honesty. Bring me your fear, your gratitude, your confusions you cannot name. I receive it all. I hold it all. I reject nothing you bring. When you confess that you are unworthy, I draw near to whisper, you have worth because you belong to me. When you give thanks that I have not remained silent but continue to speak, I smile, for that is the sign you have begun to hear my footsteps along your journey. You understand that my speaking once more is a gift, an opportunity for your heart to realign with the good purpose I prepared. and your understanding brings me great joy. Do not belittle this moment. My child, what you are living with me today, in this quiet conversation, will become a marker so that one day, looking back, you will say, "There, the Lord lifted me up, there. He rekindled the vow of devotion in my heart." I know there were times you mistook my signals for mere coincidences, times you answered slowly out of fear, times you doubted my timing, thinking I came too early or too late compared to the plan you drew. Yet, through it all, I have not abandoned you to the storm of your own confusion. I still hold to the word I promised you. I still hold to the image of you in my original intention, a child loved, chosen, and sent to carry light and comfort to others. So when you whisper gratitude for my grace, I am also quietly blessing you. You may not see it, but all of heaven rejoices when you return with an open heart. I do not count your stumbles to accuse you. I count your brave returns to gather you into my arms. Today, as you acknowledge that I have not withdrawn my promise, not withdrawn my hand, and not stopped believing in what I planted in you, you are taking a great step on the journey of healing. I will use this very gratitude to root you deeper in my love, so that each day you live, you will no longer fear rejection, but stand secure, knowing you always have a steadfast place in the Father's heart. Therefore, remain here with me a little longer. In this living silence, let gratitude spread, rising like cool water, washing away bitterness and self-blame. Let holy reverence make you soft before me, not because you fear punishment, but because you realize you are standing before a love so vast that the only response is worship. And from this day onward, whenever you remember this hour, remember that I did not leave you along the way, nor take my eyes off you. I have led you here to heal, to restore, to rekindle the fire of devotion within you, and to begin with you a new road, the road where you walk with your hands in mine, with your heart beating in harmony with my eternal good purpose for you. My child, every request you whisper in your heart never slips from my hands. No matter how clumsy you feel or how poor you think your words are, I see how you gather your pleas. Gather up all your hopes and aches. Wrap them in a faith that trembles, yet is sincere. And I cherish that more than any elaborate offering you could present. When you dare to take one more step, even a very small one, just enough to move beyond your safe place, I will use that step to mature you, to widen your heart and your vision, so you discover that faith is not a passing emotion, but a daily journey of walking with me. Each time you choose to trust my leading more than the noise of fear, you allow me to intervene more deeply in your life, letting me guide you through paths you would never dare enter alone, because you know I will not lead you into hopelessness, but will carry you through every dark valley into the wide lands I have prepared. And along that road of obedience, I am the one who opens ways no one can shut, timed rightly, done rightly, just as I have spoken that I set before those who belong to me, an open door which no hand can close. So you will understand that your destiny is not held captive by the will of people, but is held in the hands of the Creator who is powerful and kind. As you learn to gradually release the things you have been clinging to, the plans you drew for yourself, the relationships you are afraid to lose, the achievements you have treated as the definition of your worth, I do not blame you for being weak. I simply wait gently for the moment you lay everything down before me. For when your hands stop gripping until they turn white, when you dare to open them in surrender, that is when I have room to act, to gather up what seemed lost and bring it back in a form more wholesome than before. I can bring back the opportunities you thought had passed you by. Mend the fractures in your family. Kindle new life in the dreams you hastily snuffed out in disappointment, the things you call over. Finished. In my eyes are only seeds of life waiting to be watered by grace. I breathe life into the barren places within you. Touch the corners of your soul that have grown ice cold. Awaken the callings I placed in you from your earliest days. There are things I will not return to you exactly as they once were, but I will transform and renew them, so that when you receive them again, you will know they are no longer the result of your own effort, but the fruit of my mercy. I delight when you recognize that this moment is not the curtain closing on your story, not a sad epilogue, but a new page being turned gently yet surely in the blessed plan I have prepared for you. You may have viewed your life as a chain of failed experiments, but I want you to see today as a milestone, the day you understand that everything that has passed was only the prelude, preparing you for a new season where grace is revealed more clearly, where you will learn to live not under the obsession with your mistakes, but in the awareness that you are loved and being restored every day. When you whisper, "I thank you that this is not the end, but a good beginning," I joyfully receive that thanksgiving, and I seal upon your heart that it is indeed so. Your story with me has not reached its conclusion. In truth, we are entering the deepest and most beautiful part of this journey, where you learn to see everything in the light of the cross and the resurrection, where the name of Jesus is no longer only on your lips, but engraved into the way you think, choose, love, and live in this world. His name is the only name that has the authority to change the ending, break chains, and open up the future. In His name I take lordship over the things you believed were beyond saving, and I begin to rewrite them with you in ink made of mercy. My dear child, when you utter Amen, it is not just a period at the end of a prayer, but the seal of your heart's agreement with my purpose. It is you stepping into one accord with me, declaring that you are ready for me to do what I have spoken, ready for me to take you farther than you dared to imagine. From here on, every step, every choice, every breath lifted up will be an opportunity for me to make you mature in faith, steadfast in hope, and deep in love. You will come to see that the very places that once filled you with fear will become the ground where you testify to my faithfulness. The scars that once made you ashamed will become stories of healing that touch many lives. Because I never waste a single tear of yours, I will take your hand, lead you through each day, and every moment you turn back to look at me, you will see in my eyes the same unchanging trust in you, the joy that you are still here, choosing to go on with me rather than give up. And if, while you read these words, you sense a soft echo brushing your heart, making it grow warm or bringing a mist to your eyes that you cannot explain, know that it is the Holy Spirit whispering to you that you are still loved, still welcomed, still have hope. When this message stirs in you the memory of all the times I have guarded you, forgiven you, waited for you, and upheld you, that is the sign that I am still working within you, and that you are answering my invitation. If this brings you comfort, if it gives you a little more courage to keep walking, I am deeply glad, because what I long for most is always to see you living in the freedom and peace I give. And if you wish to sow these words of comfort together with me into many other hearts that are weary and discouraged, you can take part through very small, yet deeply meaningful steps. You can show your empathy with a simple sign of appreciation, leaving a small mark that you have been touched. You can choose to journey long-term with this path, so that whenever a new reminder is sent out, you are reminded again that you are not alone. You can also share these words with someone who needs a ray of hope, as a way of joining me and drawing them closer to the stream of grace. I thank you for being present here, for allowing me to speak to you, and for not keeping what is good only for yourself, but being willing to become a channel through which my grace can flow far. Every time you share, you are adding a brick to the building of a community of faith, where the weak can lean on one another, where broken hearts can together rediscover their source of comfort. I see every small interaction, and I cherish it, because I know that behind it is a heart that longs for others also to taste the mercy you have tasted. You are a precious part of this spiritual family, not merely as a passive onlooker, but as a child who is growing up, learning to love, to trust, to give from the very smallest steps. So keep walking with me. Hold tight to hope. Tend the flame of faith. And remember that from the moment you lift up your prayer in faith until each day you live out that amen, I am always beside you, building, opening the way, restoring, and leading you into a new beginning that no one can take from your hands. In my unfailing power and love. My beloved child, you may be asking why the words I have just whispered to you carry such a strong tone, like a peal of bells sounding through the silence. Do not be quick to think they are aimed at those who intentionally turn their backs and rebel against me. In fact, this wake-up rhythm is directed toward children who have become too settled, too accustomed to the light, to still recognize its blazing beauty. The greatest danger to the mind is not darkness attacking from outside, but the habit of apathy toward the truth you hear again and again without being moved. When you step past the same truth over and over and only nod to it on the surface, while your heart no longer trembles before it, then inside you, small stones are quietly stacking up into an invisible wall. Every time you brush aside a reminder, every time you let a gentle prompting pass without a response, another layer of bricks is added. And then one day, you yourself no longer understand why the things that once made your heart tremble now feel like nothing more than a passing breeze. Unable to touch the depths of your soul, I see this, and it is precisely because of it that I cannot remain silent and let you sink gradually into that paralysis. At times you complain that heaven seems mute, that I no longer speak, that the living word has become distant. But, my child, very often what you call silence from heaven is not me withdrawing my voice, but the cord between you and me having been coated thick with the dust of indifference, like a musical instrument whose strings have slackened so that it no longer rings out under the artist's touch. Your heart, too, can lose its capacity to resonate when you grow accustomed to hearing without wanting to respond, seeing without wanting to step out, understanding without being willing to obey. My spirit is always at work, always whispering, always stirring those impressions inside you that are delicate yet profound. But he does not push or impose. He waits for your heart to open and allow him to touch you. When your heart shuts tight, when you build up layer upon layer of defenses so you will not have to face the truth, it is not that my spirit is inactive, but that you have locked the door from the inside. That is why, when a sentence, an image, a call suddenly strikes the most hidden place within you, making you ache, making you restless, do not rush to assume it is a verdict or harsh condemnation. Take it as grace, as the sign that your heart can still feel pain, can still vibrate before the truth. For today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your heart. I remind you of this, not to threaten you, but so that you may give thanks that you are still able to hear that call. When my word rings out and touches a place very close, very sensitive, which you thought you had covered over, that is proof that your soul has not gone numb. The gentle conviction you feel is not a hammer coming down to shatter you, but a light uncovering corners you have long been afraid to face. If you no longer felt anything, if all that I say drifted past like strange noise from afar, that would be what is truly dreadful. But when you read these words and feel your heart stirring, your tears rising, or a part of you wanting to turn away because it hits too close, understand that it is proof I am still holding firmly the cord that links you with heaven. I do not come to break you. I come to break the shell of indifference that is slowly hardening around you before it becomes armor so thick that even tears of repentance can scarcely penetrate. You may feel shaken, deeply stirred, but this is the gentle yet resolute shaking of a father who wants you to wake up before you drift farther away. I rebuke and discipline those whom I love. That sentence is not a threat, but a declaration of, my heart, I would rather rouse you with a jolt than let you sleep on in a numbness you mistake for peace, while in reality it carries you far from me. I want you to engrave one thing in your heart. The silence you feel does not mean an empty void, does not mean I have abandoned you. The very moment you think there is no longer any word from me is often when I am working most deeply within you, like a potter silently shaping a vessel on the wheel. I also want you to understand that my repeating a truth, a call, an old theme in your life does not mean it has become useless or redundant. A seed can be sown many times into the same soil until the ground has been tilled soft enough for it to sprout. So it is with my word. Sometimes it must circle around, returning again and again, waiting until your heart no longer defends itself and no longer runs away, so that it can truly take root and bear fruit. The truths you know by heart are not necessarily the ones you have allowed to transform your life. Often what you need is not a new key, but to let what is already familiar travel from your head down to the deepest places of your soul. Therefore, do not hastily file my reminders under already heard. Do not push them away just because they do not feel new. Try to see every time I repeat myself as another wave rolling onto the shore, not to sweep you away, but to smooth, sharp stones, to make the hard coastline gentler over time. I know there are moments when you think, I've heard so much already. I understand. But understanding with your mind is different from bowing in obedience with your life. Every time you give in to the thought that you have heard enough, you unwittingly push me one step farther away. I do not accept that, not because I am lacking in dignity, but because I love you too much to watch you slip into a dangerous place without acting. I will call. I will stir. I will use every gentle and every strong means so that your soul does not slowly fade into apathy. My child, see this moment when these words make your heart ache a little. Feel a little uncomfortable, a little unsettled as a door opening onto grace. Not a sentence being read out. It is precisely because your heart can still be moved by a warning that I speak. If you feel yourself being touched, do not sulk. Do not shrink back as though I wanted to expose you before others. In truth, I am giving you a quiet invitation meant only for you and me. I want you to draw nearer, so that I may gently remove each layer of defense, each layer of coldness you have wrapped around yourself to avoid being hurt again. I want you to learn how to respond when you hear, not with great deeds all at once, but with a sincere heart, Lord. I do not want my heart to grow hard. I want to fear you, to love you again as at the beginning. That small response is already enough to open the way for me to step in and do the rest in you. Therefore, from this moment on, every time you feel as though my word is touching a hidden place deep inside you. Remember that it is proof of my steadfast love more than it is evidence of your weakness. When you sense yourself being shaken out of your comfort zone, know that I am drawing you out of the dangerous embrace of indifference. When you are unsure whether to be glad or sad because your heart has been struck, choose to be grateful, for it means your soul is still beating in rhythm with the heartbeat of heaven. And hold fast to this one thing until the very last breath leaves your body. I will still be reaching out toward you, still knocking at your door, still calling your name in love. If there is silence, it is only a pause so that you may realize you need to speak. If there is repetition, it is only the persistent footsteps of grace searching for every possible way to win your heart, until the moment you freely open yourself and say, "Father, here I am. I want to listen, to respond, to return to you." And in that moment, you will understand that every strong warning I ever sent was never meant to frighten you, but to save you, not to condemn you, but to keep you from losing yourself on the path that leads farther and farther away from my love. My beloved child, when you lift up those words of thanksgiving, I do not only hear the faint trembling sound in your throat, I also feel every fluttering beat of your heart. Each word you offer, even if clumsy or unfinished, is to me as precious as pure incense rising to the heights of heaven. You recognize my mercy as something wondrous. You marvel at the endurance of my love, and this pleases me more than any outward offering. You have walked through seasons of confusion, times when your heart was heavy and your eyes dim because you could not distinguish the path I set before you from the turnings of your own choosing. Yet believe that even in that fog I have been walking beside you, not allowing you to fall out of the embrace of my love. You may not see, you may not feel, but I have never stopped watching over you. When you stray off course, I do not turn my back. I quicken my steps to keep pace with you, for I fear that if you were to turn and look for me and could not find me there, your heart would shatter yet again. I know you have thought that the opportunities that have passed were doors slammed shut forever, that your slow and hesitant responses have ruined all the golden moments I had prepared. But my child, have you ever sat in quiet reflection and asked yourself, if I am the Lord of time, the creator of the universe, could I really be late because of a few missteps of yours? No, my child, I am not bound by human schedules or plans. I can weave even your winding detours into a part of your journey home. I can use your times of being lost to teach you humility and compassion for others, so that one day when you rise up, you will not speak of me only from theory, but from what you yourself have lived through. Therefore, instead of looking back on your delays with nothing but regret, see them as markers of the places where I waited patiently, never taking back my promises, never erasing the plan I had planted in your heart. When you acknowledge that this very moment is not accidental, that being led here to pray, to awaken, to rekindle your offering of surrender is a marvel, that is when your eyes begin to see the trace of my hand in even the smallest details of your life. You look back on the days that seemed ordinary, a sudden conversation, a song that played at just the right time, a simple sentence that made your heart go still, and you realize that my hand was in all of it. I use everything, great and small, joyful and sorrowful, to weave the wondrous tapestry of your life story. Each time you recognize this, you no longer stand as someone swept along by the currents of life, but as one invited to work together with me in your very own destiny. You are not only a witness, you are a participant. You have often thought of prayer as a duty, as a work of repeated words, but I want you to see it through different eyes. Prayer is not you knocking on heaven's door unwillingly. It is you stepping into the room where your Father is already waiting, with a tender smile and open arms. I do not wait with a checklist in hand. I wait with a burning desire to hear you tell me everything, even though I already know it all beforehand. It is in the moment when you pause all the noise, silence the calls of busyness, until there is only you and me, that your soul touches something sacred the world can never give. You think you are doing something spiritual, but in truth, I am the one drawing near, reaching into the deepest layers of your heart. You may not feel anything special, but remember that because the Lord is near to all who call on Him, to all who call on Him in truth, as long as you come sincerely, without pretense, I am already beside you, listening and acting. I sense in your prayer a confusion that has finally been named, a gratitude still tangled with self-blame. And yet this very mixture gives your soul its honest color. You do not hide the fact that you have missed my signals. You openly admit you have been slow to respond and have doubted the timing I chose. And do you know, this delights me more than any polished speech that does not come from the heart. I do not want you to perform the role of a perfectly good child. I want you to come to me exactly as you are, sometimes weak, sometimes bewildered, sometimes trying yet still stumbling. Here, in this space of prayer, you are allowed to shed every layer of pretense, to lay down every pressure to measure up in the eyes of others. I do not come to judge your delays. I come to heal the deeper reasons behind them, to set you free from the fears that keep your feet from moving. Let me lead you a little deeper still. Do not be quick to end this moment as if you had simply completed a task. Let the prayer you have just offered become a doorway into a long conversation between you and me. You can speak to me about those places in your heart you have never dared to look at, dreams you thought were buried, wounds you believe no one could ever understand, questions you hide because you fear being seen as weak in faith. Nothing you reveal can ever surprise me. I have only been waiting for you to entrust these things to me so that I may transform them. When you lay them out before me, you do not disappoint me. On the contrary, you honor me as the only one worthy to touch that deepest place in you. Let your mind imagine a different picture. You are standing on the bank of a wide river, the water reflecting gentle light. In your hands are all your fears, your guilt, your sense of inadequacy, and the unfinished fragments of many years. Beside you I stand, silent yet unshakable, my hand pointing toward the water. I do not force you to hurl everything in with one single mighty throw. I simply invite you, little by little, to begin releasing these burdens. Every weight you let go sends out a ripple, and then the surface grows calm again, clear and clean. This is the picture of what it means to entrust everything to me in prayer. You do not need to rush, but do not cling forever to what weighs you down. Just as the riverbank does not grieve over the leaves it has dropped into the water, so your soul will feel light as it learns how to surrender to me. You have thanked me because I never take back my promises. Never stop believing in what you have planted in me. And I want you to go even deeper in that awareness. What I have sown in you is not just a passing surge of zeal, but a profound calling, the calling to live as a child of the light, carrying the fragrance of grace into every place you are present. I do not ask you to do something great all at once. I simply invite you to begin with small things, a gentle word instead of a harsh one, an embrace instead of turning away, a prayer instead of a complaint. My purpose for you is not to make you someone celebrated by many, but to make you someone who reflects my character in the midst of ordinary life. When you let today's prayer soak into the smallest details of your day, you will see that even the simplest tasks, studying, working, serving, resting, become part of worship. I want you to know, and this is very important, that the gratitude you offer me is not only in your words but also in your choice to trust me more than your feelings. There will be days when you do not feel spiritual, when you feel no stirring or anything special. Yet if on those days you still close your eyes, breathe deeply and say, "Lord, I still believe you are here." That is the thanksgiving that delights me most. That is when you are living by faith and not by feelings. My love for you does not rise and fall with your moods, and I long for your faith to grow steadily like that as well, not built on waves of emotion, but on the solid ground of who I am. Now, as you ask to continue, to add more words, to prolong this moment, I smile because you are learning how to remain in my presence instead of leaving in haste. Let your heart overflow with more whispered words, a plea for forgiveness, the offering of your fears, prayers for those you love, a longing to be brave enough to change. I will use all of this to pour a new peace into your heart, not the kind of peace that instantly changes every circumstance, but the peace that helps you stand firm even while things around you remain the same. That peace comes from knowing there is one who never lets go, never abandons you, never grows weary of calling your name one more time. Believe that from this very moment, your prayer has been woven into the very story I am writing for your life. Every "thank you, Lord" is like a musical note. Every "please help me" like the beat of a drum. And I, the unseen conductor, am arranging them into a symphony that will leave you in awe when you look back one day. There will be passages in that music that are low and somber, sounds that seem dark or heavy. But it is precisely these that make the joyful melodies. When they come, deeper and more complete, you will understand that no moment is ever wasted, as long as it is placed in my hands. Therefore, my beloved child, keep walking forward from this moment of prayer with a tender heart and eyes that can recognize my footprints in the smallest details. Do not let the fear of not being good enough keep you from drawing near. Do not let memories of past failures stop you from answering new invitations. Each morning when you wake, you can simply say one very simple sentence: "Lord, today I place this day in your hands again, and I will receive it as a brand new offering of surrender." Each night before you sleep, you can sigh in my arms, "Thank you for staying with me through this whole day," and I will cover you with peaceful rest. I, the one you have just called upon, with all reverence and gratitude, will continue to walk with you through the days ahead, the years ahead. I will keep calling, keep reminding, keep lifting you up, and every time you respond, even with only a tiny whisper, you step a little deeper into the intimate relationship I have always longed for. Hold this moment in your heart as a place of anchoring, so that whenever you are weary, you remember there was a time you stood before me, honest and bare, and I wrapped you fully in grace. From now on, you no longer walk as someone abandoned, but as a child whose hand is held, whose steps are guided, who is loved to the very end, and that is the foundation for every prayer. Every effort, every new beginning you will live through together with me. From the moment you whispered, "Lord," whether in a trembling voice or one left dry by exhaustion, I drew very near, nearer than you could ever imagine. In that prayer I heard not merely a string of words, but the pulse of a heart learning to believe again, shaking, yet still longing to step forward. I saw reverence rising within you, not as fear of punishment, but as a holy awe when you realize you are standing before a love too vast, too deep, too high. You spoke of a strange mercy, of a steadfast love, and in that very moment I was gazing upon you with an indescribable tenderness. You are surprised that my faithfulness and patience surpass what you can grasp. Yet to me, waiting for you, pursuing you, seeking you is not a burden. It is the joy of a father who cannot do anything other than keep on loving. When you recognize that grace and give thanks, my heart rejoices. For what I desire is not flawless rituals, but a heart that bows low and says, I know that without you, I would not still be standing here. And little by little, day by day, you will notice that you are no longer speaking of me as though I were a distant one, but as though you were conversing with one who sits beside you, even when no one else understands you. You will come to see that my continuing touch upon your life is not merely an effort to restore a faded relationship, but my eternal decision that I will not abandon you. No matter how far to the horizon you may wander, I am not a God who stands at a distance, waiting to see whether you are worthy. I am, Father, the one who willingly stoops down, steps into the hidden corners of chaos within you, and there spreads the cloth of grace to welcome you to sit down. You often measure yourself by the world's standards, thinking that only when you reach some acceptable level will you dare come near. But I have never made that bargain. I do not require you to be whole before letting you partake. I call you to come even in your unfinished state, because I know only in me will you gradually be healed and made new. I invite you to live with me. I do not command you to fix yourself first and only then approach. When you look back, you will see that each time I have touched you was never meaningless, never a weary sequence of starting over as you have feared. Every opportunity I place before you a reminder, a passage of scripture that suddenly becomes alive, an evening when your heart grows restless without knowing why. These are all small markers along the path of deliverance I am quietly working out. This is not a useless loop, but a rescue line I cast down again and again. Longing only for the day you find the courage to grasp it tightly. I know you are afraid of failing again, afraid of letting go halfway, afraid of disappointing me. But, my beloved, remember what I have spoken. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. Isaiah 41:10. The deliverance I give you is not built on your endurance, but on my own strength and faithfulness. You do not pull yourself out of the deep. I am the one who steps down into it, lifts you up, and leads you onward. So when you hear me call again, when you feel your heart being drawn nearer to me, do not remain outside the door. Step forward one more step, however small, however trembling. You do not need to know exactly what the future will hold, nor to have every answer in hand. You only need to dare to nod to me and say, I am here, please lead me. And that alone is a new beginning. The newness I set before you is not a cold, blank page, but a wide, colorful horizon where the past is no longer a chain, but becomes material for something more beautiful. What you once thought was broken and wasted, I can use to weave a story of comfort, so that one day you will know how to hold others with the compassion you learned through your own tears. When you speak to me in honest prayer, you open a sacred space that no power of darkness can reach. In that moment, your inner being becomes like a silent altar where I delight to descend. I see you learning to quiet the noise outside, to set your phone down, to pause what you are doing. Simply to speak a few words to me from the depths of your heart. You do not realize how great a thing you have done. You have acknowledged that I matter more than what has been occupying your mind. This is a turning from within, a shifting of the center of your life, no longer revolving around fear, shame, or your own plans, but turning toward me, the only one who can keep you. When you call, Lord, with gratitude, you release a part of the burden of proving yourself, and you allow me to be your shelter and your guide. And the longer you remain in this stillness, the more you will understand why the moment I have brought you into is so precious. Not every day comes with a softness of heart that dares to confess, I need you more than ever. There were seasons when you overlooked the signals I sent because you were busy, because you hesitated, because you did not believe. I still remember the times I knocked gently, through a passing thought, through a vague unease, through a hollow emptiness nothing could fill, yet you hurried to turn away, burying yourself in the screen, in laughter, in a new plan. I do not blame you, for I know that within you there has been a battle between my voice and 100 things pulling you elsewhere. I simply waited in silence for the day the walls you built would grow weary, and you would begin to long, even faintly, for something deeper, something truer. Today is one of those days. Therefore, when you confess that you have been slow, that you once questioned the timing I appointed, and yet I remain steadfast, my heart does not grow heavy, it softens with joy. You are seeing me rightly, one who does not take back his promise, who does not erase your name from his heart because you responded late. What I have sown in you, a calling, a gift, a sensitivity to the things of heaven remains there, never withdrawn by me. It may have fallen asleep, covered over by disappointment, but when I breathe life into it, it burns again. I place my confidence in what I have sown, not because you are strong, but because I know my own hand planted it, and therefore I surely know how to make it bloom. Little by little, as you let my words seep into every crack, you will discover something wondrous, the very places where you feel weakest, most broken, are where my light shines most strongly. You once thought you had to avoid speaking of the past, to hide the seasons of stumbling, but I take those very things as seed to plant hope in the lives of others. Once you are rescued from the darkness within, you will learn to look upon others with gentler eyes, with greater patience, because you yourself were looked upon that way by me. From today, your journey with me will not be only a journey of escape for yourself, but a journey in which you become an instrument of comfort, a quiet, truthful voice of grace. In this new stretch of road, I do not demand that you always be spiritual in the way you imagine, always strong and blazing. I simply invite you to live near me, bit by bit. Through small things, bring me the worries of your day, the conflicts with friends, the dreams you hold for the future, the hurts you do not know whom to tell. Practice telling me first before you tell anyone else. Let me be the first one you turn to when your heart is tangled. You will find that each time you do, peace gently begins to flow in, not as a fleeting rush of excitement, but like a soft breeze that makes your chest easier to breathe. I give you a peace unlike the world's, a quiet steadiness that only those who stand before me in stillness truly feel. And one day, when you look back over the journey, you will see that the prayers that seemed so small today opened an entirely new way. You will see that the very moment you bowed in sincerity and thanked me for not withdrawing my promise, for not growing weary of you, was the moment your roots sank deep into the rock, into me. From there, storms may still come, trials may still arise, you may still grow tired at times, but you will no longer be a wandering child who does not know where you belong. You will know you have a home, a father, a place to return to, and whenever your life wavers, all you need is to remember. All you need is to turn back and whisper, "Lord, thank you for never letting go, and I will remind you that whatever I began in you, I will continue. I will nourish until the day it is brought to completion." So, my child, keep carefully within your heart the holy sense of this moment. Do not let it be only a passing memory. Let it become an anchor from which every other choice in your life is illuminated. Each morning when you wake, you can whisper again a few words like "today's," reminding yourself that you live within ever-new mercies. That today too is part of the deliverance I am patiently leading you through. Each night before you sleep, you can tell me how you noticed my presence even in the smallest detail. In doing so, you are weaving a tapestry where threads of grace, gratitude, and faithfulness intertwine. So you never forget that I, the one who called you, who waited for you, who did not withdraw, my promise am still walking with you, day after day, until your heart fully beats in rhythm with the good and eternal purpose I appointed for you from the beginning. My beloved, when your heart spoke to me in that prayer, everything you thought was small, scattered, and weak became exceedingly precious in my sight. I receive every word you speak as a father cherishes the first crooked letter of his little child. He does not despise the trembling strokes. He does not scold the mistakes. He sees only a true heart, an effort to draw near. You said you felt reverence and gratitude, and that reverence not terror, but holy awe as you realize I am too holy, too wondrous, softened my heart. I do not fix my gaze on what you do not yet understand, nor do I scrutinize the places where your faith is still frail. Instead, I hear very clearly the quiet sigh of relief when you dare to confess, "Lord, without you, I cannot even lift myself up." The moment you release the thought that you must hold everything together alone is the moment there is room for me to embrace you, to steady you with my own arms, and to help you stand firm. You said this moment is anything but ordinary, and you are right. So many days pass like drifting dust. So many hurried words fall away and are forgotten. But the instant you turned back and lifted your heart to me will never fade from heaven's memory. I record it not as a number or an entry in a ledger, but as a father who keeps his child's picture tucked inside his own heart. I have seen the times you missed the hints I sent, an unexplainable inner urging, a line of words that suddenly silenced you, a coincidence that shook you awake, yet I do not blame you for being slow. I know you hesitated. You wrestled with the fear that if you responded, you would lose the things you were gripping so tightly. I waited until you understood that what you cling to is often what pulls you down, while what I give is meant to lift you up. And so today, when you thank me for my persistence, I also quietly give thanks that you have been willing to open your heart and look back on the long stretch of road where my eyes have never left you. My child, I want you to understand more deeply that my faithfulness is not an abstract idea, but a living current that covers every detail of your life. When you wake to a new day without knowing what you will face, I have already been there before you, stepping into that day ahead of you, preparing grace that will be enough. When you grow weary of responsibilities that repeat, thinking your life turns only around small and ordinary tasks, I see in each of those moments an opportunity to stand beside you, to let my love soak into what seems so common. I am not present only in the sacred hours you set aside. I am there while you study, while you work, while you wait for results, while you endure what others do not understand. I am with you in laughter and in tears, in unexpected successes and in failures that make you want to give up. I have said it, and it is still true for you today. I am with you always, not for a few steps, but to the very end of the age. So do not think only solemn moments delight me, a simple calling of my name, a glance lifted upward in the middle of chaos, is enough to make heaven fall silent and listen. What I am doing in you is not merely comforting you so you feel less sad. It is slowly reshaping the way you see yourself and the way you see your life. Many times you have thought you were the one who arrived too late, the one who ruined the song, the child unworthy to stand among those who seem more zealous, more holy. But you do not know that even those cracks can be used to reflect my light. The places where you once broke can become a stream of comfort for other hearts, breaking the way yours did. The places where you were weak, if you place them in, my hands can become a bridge, helping you understand others more deeply, helping you hold them with the same mercy you have tasted. I am not asking you to become a flawless symbol without a scratch. I want you to become a living witness that grace is real, that failure is not the end. For in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, and that is true even of what you deem meaningless, even of what you wish you had never lived through. If you entrust these things to me, I will weave them again, fastening them into a larger picture you cannot yet fully see. You have just thanked me for not taking back my promise. And I want you to know this. What I have spoken over your life is not shaken by your emotions or your circumstances. When you are joyful, I do not promise more. When you are sorrowful, I do not love you less. My word is not like human words, hot one moment and cold the next, spoken in enthusiasm and forgotten in boredom. I am the one who speaks and fulfills what I have spoken. There are promises I planted in your heart very early on, so early that now you think they were merely personal dreams or the naive imaginings of youth. But if you look closely, you will notice that among countless desires, some things remain unfaded, though years have passed. Though you have changed, those are what I planted, and I have not forgotten. You may take detours, you may stop, you may walk slowly, but I do not cancel my purpose. I persist in teaching you, shaping you, correcting you, yet I do not discard you. Your delay does not discourage me. Your confusion does not unsettle me. I am far calmer than you imagine. And that calmness is where you can rest your head when your heart is rocking and your mind feels like it might split apart. Now that you have offered me thanksgiving, I invite you to take one step further. Allow me to touch the places you still unconsciously keep back. There are memories you do not want to name, relationships that hurt you, dreams you buried beneath the soil of disappointment. You think that if you dig them up, you will only hurt more. So you press them down and try to move forward as though nothing happened. But, my child, those very hidden things are quietly shaping the way you live today, the way you react to others, the way you perceive yourself. I do not bring them into the open to expose you. I want to lift them up and place them in my gentle light, so you can see without being bound. I want you to be brave enough to say to me, Lord, these are the things I don't know what to do with. Please step in. When you speak like that, you permit me to do what only I can do to untangle, to soothe, to wash clean, to restore, to renew. Do not fear that if you let me touch them, everything will fall into chaos. In truth, The chaos has been there for a long time. You have simply grown used to living with it until it felt normal. What I bring is not chaos, but a new order, an unfamiliar peace. Not peace because everything goes smoothly, but quiet within, even when the outside is shaking. When you stand before decisions ahead, choosing your path, choosing whom to listen to, choosing what to do, you will no longer be driven by fear or by the pressure to prove yourself, but guided by a gentle certainty. I am there. I walk with you. I take responsibility for the road you travel, as long as you are willing to take my hand. And from that place of peace, you will learn to look at tomorrow not with anxious eyes, but with the gaze of someone who knows they have a refuge. You will gradually discover that prayer is not only the moments when you bow your head with solemnity, but an ongoing conversation between you and me throughout the day. When you smile at something small and beautiful, that is a whispered thanksgiving. When you feel like breaking into tears under a weight, even your sobs are a prayer I understand perfectly. When you are confused and have no words, your silence is not an empty gap. It is space for my spirit to carry what your heart cannot yet express, lifting it before my throne. The closer you live to me, the more you will see that every day, every breath, if you let me be involved, becomes part of the long offering of devotion you are slowly bringing to me. I know you are still young, with so much still uncertain, with crossroads ahead that make you half excited and half afraid. I do not promise you a road that is smooth and tearless, but I promise you one thing I have never withdrawn from anyone. I will not leave you alone on that road. When you must choose, I will whisper when you stumble. I will lift you up when you rejoice. I will rejoice with you when you hurt. I will hurt with you. You may forget me for a moment, but I do not forget you for even a second. You may doubt my goodness on gray days, but I still persist in proving it through my quiet presence, through a friend's embrace, a timely word, an unexpected door opening, a peace you cannot explain. So hold today's prayer the way one holds a precious stone close to the heart in a pocket. Whenever you feel yourself wanting to return to old thoughts, to sink into feelings of worthlessness or abandonment, remember that there was a day when you stood before me and spoke of gratitude, of your astonishment at mercy you could not comprehend. Let that memory remind you that if on that day I drew you near, then today I will not push you away. I myself began that prayer in your heart, and I will not stop halfway. I will continue to teach you how to pray, teach you how to trust, teach you how to love yourself and others with the love you receive from me. And now, in the silence that is settling over you, I lay my hand upon your head like a father blessing his child who is about to step out of the house and face a new day. I do not promise to erase every difficulty, but I give you something more precious, my unchanging presence, and a strength that is gentle yet steadfast, flowing from my spirit. Where you go, I go. Whatever you face, I stand in the midst of it. Wherever you are weak, I supply what is lacking. Keep walking not under the burden of having to appear strong, but in the freedom of a child who knows they are loved without condition. Let each passing day become an extended thank you, an ongoing yes, written in small actions. And always know this, whenever you turn back, I will still be here unchanged, unwearied, unfrustrated, waiting for you to come, to call my name, and to keep writing with you the wondrous story of grace you are only beginning to see today. My beloved child, from the moment you opened your mouth to confess gratitude, from that very moment something quiet yet deep began to move within you. Perhaps you cannot see any outward change, yet work remains the same. Circumstances are unchanged. The people around you still carry the same faces and old stories. But beneath the surface, an invisible thread is being skillfully rejoined by me, drawing your heart closer to my heartbeat than it was yesterday. You lifted thanksgiving to me because I do not withdraw my promises, and I am using that thanksgiving itself as a key to open a new door within your soul, one you have not dared to let anyone touch before. From here, I do not want you merely to experience a single sacred moment in prayer and then move on. I want this fellowship to soak into the most ordinary hours as well, when you sit in class, when you work quietly, when you collapse into rest after a long day. I want you to realize that every moment can become holy if you allow my presence there, if you remember that I am the one who brought you to this hour, to raise you up and rekindle in you a flame you thought had died. From now on, I want you to practice looking back at the footprints I have quietly left along your path. The times you thought you happened to hear a sentence that touched your hidden ache. The songs that began at the exact moment you were collapsing. The meetings that seemed meaningless, yet later opened a new direction. None of these were mere coincidence. They were hints you once missed. Signals I lit in the noisy air of worry and pressure, when you were too tired, too confused to recognize them. Now, as you look back under the light of grace, you will see that I did not give up simply because you did not answer the first time. I am not like those who grow disappointed and turn away. I am like a father who sits patiently at the threshold, eyes fixed toward the far end of the road, waiting for his child to return even if that child is late. Uncertain, hesitant, in tears. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. That word is not for someone far away, it is for you. For the times you curled inward because you felt unworthy, because you believed you had wasted too many opportunities. I want you to understand as well that the grace you are thanking me for is not fragile, something that shatters the moment you slip. My grace is like the deep ocean. You may stumble, you may fall in, yet you sink into arms that hold you, rather than into a black pit of despair that swallows you whole. The gratitude you spoke to me today is the beginning of a new life, one in which you no longer see yourself as someone always standing outside, only daring to look at others' blessings from afar, but as a child truly living in the Father's house, free to enter, to speak, to weep and laugh with me in closeness. The holy reverence you carry in your heart, if you guard it and nourish it, will become a compass guiding you through difficult decisions. When you stand before the choice between truth and deceit, humility and pride, love and selfishness, remember this moment. Remember that you are living before the one who has loved you so deeply, he refuses to let you go. And ask your heart, if I am the one you cherish, how should I choose so I do not wound that love, my child? I know that living this way is not easy, especially when you are surrounded by so many opposing voices. The world will tell you that you are only the sum of your achievements, that your worth is measured by talent, appearance, and the praise on other people's lips. When you do not meet the standard, it will say you are nothing at all. But I have spoken a completely different word over your life. You are valuable because you belong to me, because I have chosen you, because I have planted within you desires unlike anyone else's, the desire to live truthfully, to give, to let your life become meaningful for others. Those very desires, even when you bury them out of fear of being laughed at, are proof that my hand is shaping you into my likeness. Do not deny those good things just because you have failed at living them out before. Do not, because you missed my timing a few times, rush to conclude that you can no longer be used. I can turn those missed moments into lessons, into experience, so that later When you lift someone else up, you will not speak only with words, but from your own story healed and restored. In the days ahead, there will be moments when the flame I have kindled in you today feels weaker again, like an oil lamp in the wind. Do not panic and blame yourself, and do not quickly assume that I have withdrawn from you. Remember, my love does not rise and fall with your emotions. When you rejoice, I rejoice with you. When you are sad, I do not turn away, I sit down beside you. There will be mornings when you feel eager to pray, and there will also be evenings when you are so tired that you can only whisper, Lord, I'm here. Before sleep takes you, I do not despise your short prayer, as long as it is sincere. What I long for is that you do not run from me. No matter how faint your breath may feel, you can practice offering me very small moments throughout your day, a few seconds before you open a book. One deep breath in the middle of a stressful class. A simple thank you, for you are still here when you see the sunset at day's end. Those small things will be woven into a garment of peace covering your mind, so that even when you are confused, you will still know you are not alone. Perhaps you are still wondering whether you have the strength to keep the devotion you have just rekindled with me today. You are afraid you will forget again, get distracted by other things again, disappoint me again. I hear those fears clearly, and I do not accuse you. I only want you to know that I do not ask you to hold everything together by your own strength. I myself will be the one who sustains you, reminds you, calls you back whenever you wander. Your responsibility is not to clutch me tightly with hands that grip and loosen, but to allow me to hold you. You need to learn to lean on me instead of trying to prove you are worthy. When you stumble, instead of hiding in shame, run straight back to me. Stretch out your dirty hands and let me wash you clean. When you succeed in something, instead of being proud alone, turn back and smile at me, whispering, I know without you, I couldn't. In this way, day after day, you will find yourself growing in grace, not crushed beneath the weight of duty. I also want to speak to you about the people around you. Do not think this journey is only a private matter between you and me. I will use you as a channel, a small stream carrying encouragement to other souls who are weary and confused. Just as you once were, when you have been lifted up, you will see those who are falling with different eyes. You will no longer be quick to judge or criticize, because you know what it is to be forgiven, to be upheld. I want you to learn gentleness toward others, the way I have been gentle with you. When you see someone slow to respond to my call, do not become impatient. Remember that you, too, were once slow, once doubted my timing. The more you recognize how great the grace given to you is, the more easily you will extend that grace to others. Let your life become a living testimony that there is one who never lets go, never retracts his promise, never grows weary of calling human beings by name. In the days when your heart is weak, I encourage you to return to the words you spoke today. You can write them down. You can repeat them within your heart, not as a mechanical ritual, but as a reminder of what is true. I am still faithful. I am still merciful. I am still patient beyond understanding. You have the right to draw near to me with both reverence and intimacy. How beautiful it is when you tremble before the Holy One. Yet rest in peace, because you know that same holiness is also the Father's embrace. That union will keep you from pride when blessings come, and it will also keep you from despair when you face your weakness. You will no longer see me as a distant stranger who appears only in sacred hours. but as the one who walks with you when you laugh, when you cry, when you study, when you wrestle with questions you cannot easily answer inside your heart. And finally, I want you to know this, what I began in you today. I will not abandon halfway. You may not understand every turn of the road. You may ask why many times along the way, but hold tightly to this one truth. I never do anything half-heartedly. I have led you through dark stretches you thought you could not survive. I have kept your heart from shattering even after many wounds. And I will not stop now, when you have only taken the first few steps on this road of returning. Let gratitude keep flowing like a quiet river watering your faith. Let holy reverence help you walk carefully without fear. Let the memory of this moment become a marker you can return to whenever you feel weak. Reminding yourself, that day, he touched me, he lifted me up, he rekindled in me the fire of devotion. And be at peace, because if you still want to cling to me, it is proof that I held you first. If you still want to give thanks, it is proof that my grace has never left. If you still hear a gentle yet persistent call within you, it is I whispering at your ear, I am here. I still believe in you, and I will walk with you to the very end. My child, every request you whisper in your heart never slips from my hand. No matter how clumsy you feel or how poor you think your words are, I see how you gather your pleas. Hold together all your hopes and ache, and wrap them in a faith that is still trembling yet sincere. And I treasure that more than any elaborate offering you could give. When you dare to take one more step, however small, just enough to move beyond your comfort zone, I will use that very step to grow you, to widen your heart and your vision, so that you discover faith is not only a passing emotion, but a daily journey of walking with me. Each time you choose to trust my leading more than the noise of fear, you are allowing me to enter more deeply into your life, letting me guide you through places you would never dare to walk alone. Because you know I will not lead you into hopelessness, but will carry you through every dark valley toward the wide lands I have prepared. And on that road of obedience, I am the one who opens pathways no one can block, steady, timely, and true. Just as I have spoken, I set before those who belong to me an open door that no hand can shut. So you may understand that your destiny is not held captive by the will of the world, but kept in the hands of the powerful and compassionate Creator. As you learn to loosen what you have been gripping, plans you drew for yourself, relationships you are afraid to lose, achievements you have used to define your worth, I do not condemn your weakness. I simply wait gently for the moment you lay it all down before me. For when your hands stop clenching until they turn white, when you open them in surrender, that is when there is room for me to act, to gather what seemed lost and return it in a form more good than before. I can bring back opportunities you thought had passed, mend the broken pieces in your family, breathe new life into dreams you quickly smothered because of disappointment. What you call finished, burned out, over. In my eyes is only life waiting to be watered by grace. I breathe my spirit into the dried places within you. Touch the corners of your soul that have grown cold. Awaken the call I placed in you from the beginning. Some things I will not return in the exact shape they once had, but I will transform and renew them, so that when you receive them again, you will know it is no longer the result of your striving, but the fruit of my mercy. I rejoice that you recognize this moment is not a curtain closing the story, not a sorrowful ending, but a new page being turned gently yet surely in the blessed plan I have for you. You may have looked at your life as a chain of failed attempts, but I want you to see today as a milestone, the day you understood that everything behind you was only a prelude, preparing you for a new season where grace will be revealed more clearly, where you will learn to live not under the haunting of your mistakes, but in the awareness that you are loved and restored day by day. When you whisper, "I thank you that this is not the end, but a good beginning," I gladly receive that thanksgiving, and I seal it upon your heart. Yes, your story with me has not reached its closing. In truth, we are entering the deepest, most beautiful part of this journey, where you learn to see everything in the light of the cross and the resurrection, where the name of Jesus is not only on your lips, but carved into the way you think, choose, love, and live in this world. His name is the only name with authority to change the ending, break chains, and open a future in His name. I take up dominion over what you believed could not be redeemed, and I begin to rewrite with you in the ink of mercy. Beloved child, when you breathe out, Amen, it is not merely a period at the end of a prayer, but the soul's seal of agreement with my intent. It is you stepping into oneness with me, willing for me to do what I have spoken, willing for me to take you farther than you dared imagine. From here on, every step, every choice, every offered breath will be an opportunity for me to mature you in faith, steady you in hope, deepen you in love. You will come to see that lands that once frightened you will become the places where you testify to my faithfulness. Scars that once embarrassed you will turn into healing stories that touch many lives. Because I never waste a single tear of yours, I will take your hand and lead you through each day. And every time you turn back to look at me, you will see in my eyes the same unchanging trust in you, the joy that you are still here choosing to continue with me rather than giving up. And if, as you read these words, you sense a gentle echo touching your heart, making it warm or bringing tears to your eyes that you cannot explain, know that it is the Holy Spirit whispering to you that you are still loved, still welcomed, still not without hope. When this message awakens memories of how many times I have protected you, forgiven you, waited for you, and upheld you, it is a sign that I am still at work within you and that you are answering my invitation. If it comforts you and gives you courage to keep walking, I rejoice deeply. For what I desire most is to see you live in the freedom and peace I give. And if you want to join me in sowing these words of consolation into other hearts that are tired and discouraged, you can absolutely take part through very small yet meaningful steps. You can express empathy by tapping a reaction, leaving a tiny trace that you have been touched. You can subscribe to walk with this journey long term, so that whenever a new reminder is sent out, you are reminded again that you are not alone. You can also share these words with someone who needs a ray of hope, as a way of joining me and drawing them nearer to the stream of grace. I thank you for being here, for allowing me to speak to you, and for not keeping what is good only for yourself, but being willing to become a channel through which my grace can flow far and wide. Every time you share, you are adding a brick to the building up of the community of faith, a place where the weak can lean on one another and where broken hearts can find comfort together. I see every small interaction and I treasure it, because I know behind it is a heart that longs for others to taste mercy as you have. You are a precious part of this spiritual family, not just as a passive observer, but as a child who is growing up, learning to love, learning to trust, learning to give from the very smallest steps. So keep walking with me, hold tightly to hope, tend the flame of faith, and remember that from the moment you lift up your prayer in faith until each day you live out that Amen, I am with you, building, making a way, restoring, and leading you into a new beginning that no one can ever take from you. By my unchanging power and love. And from this very moment, when you close your prayer and whisper Amen in your heart, I want you to understand that everything you have just offered up does not vanish into some vague emptiness. It is like a seed of faith placed into my hand, and I bury it in the soil of the plan I have set apart for you. You may not see it right away. You may not feel it clearly, but in the quiet, I have already begun to nourish it, to let that tiny life push through its shell and grow, until one day you will be surprised to see the things you once only dared to wish for in secret to become sweet and tangible fruit. I know there are moments when you still ask yourself whether you are strong enough to keep going, whether you are persistent enough to make it to the end. But my child, I have never asked you to carry the long road on your own. Your part is to move forward in small, obedient steps. My part is to keep your feet from stumbling, to open a path where everything seems blocked, and to use all that comes, both joy and sorrow, to make you more mature in love, wiser in your choices, and stronger in your faith. Then, in the midst of days that seem ordinary, you will begin to notice the doors I open so gently, a relationship being mended, a chance to study or to serve that appears at exactly the right time, a word of encouragement that reaches you when you are most discouraged. These things are not coincidences. They are the imprint of my hand along the path you walk. I am the one who has promised to set before those who belong to me a door that no one can shut. So, when you walk under my guidance, you can rest assured that my power is greater than every hindrance from the outside. There will be times when the door I open does not look like what you hoped for, or leads you into a stretch of road that feels more challenging. But I never open a way only to abandon you halfway through. I lead you there because I know that beyond the rough places lie depths and beauties you can only come to know if you dare to go with me. And right in the circumstances that appear unfavorable, you will find me revealing myself as very near and very real. Just as it was once written that you are the light of the world, a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. And I will use you, through your story and your scars, to shine hope into the lives of those who are still walking in the dark. When you begin to loosen your grip on the things you have held so tightly, you will come to understand that surrender is not losing, but placing everything back into the hands of the one who knows the true worth of all things better than you do. I see every plan you have painstakingly drawn up, every dream you have cherished, every person you have loved and do not want to let go. I am not asking you to become numb or to forget what you hold dear. I am inviting you to lay it all on my hands, so that I may decide in a better way. Some things I will keep. Some things I will let go. Some things I will completely transform. But in every decision I make, I am seeking the deepest good of your soul. What I bring back to you after it has been lost will not be the same as before. It will be purified, healed, reordered according to a new priority in which I am first. And the things I do not return, I will make up for with my own presence, with gifts that you cannot yet imagine, but for which one day you will bow in gratitude, because I did not simply grant every impatient desire of your heart. I also know there will be times when it seems your prayers are not being answered, when doors still appear shut and your longings remain untouched. In those days, it is easy for you to think you have prayed in vain, that your faith is too weak, that I am keeping my distance from you. But my little one, many times what I am doing is not saying no, but saying not yet, because I want what I give you to come in the right season, at the right time, When you are ready not to be crushed by the weight of your own blessing, I use the weighting to shape your character, to loosen your grip on self, to heal wounds that have not fully closed, so that when the rain of blessing falls, your roots will be deep enough to stand firm. In those months and years that seem so silent, I have not forgotten you. I am listening to every sigh you breathe, counting every tear you shed, and quietly preparing what is better than anything you have planned. If there are days when you feel you have gone back to the starting point, repeating the same old weaknesses, do not be quick to conclude that the whole journey has been meaningless. The growth of faith is not a straight line. It is more like an upward spiral. At times you feel as though you have returned to where you were. But in truth, you are standing at a higher place, with deeper understanding and sweeter experience of forgiveness. Each time you fall, if you choose to stand up and return to me, you carry with you a new lesson, a new softness of heart, a slightly deeper compassion for others. I do not examine you according to scorecards and performance. I look at you through the eyes of a father who rejoices every time you come home, even if it is only with a small whisper, a tired, "Please help me," breathed out in your weariness. When you are among the community of faith, I want you to remember that you are not just an onlooker or someone standing on the sidelines. You are part of the body, a piece I have placed in just the right spot. Your presence, the words you leave, the glances you share, the silent prayers you lift up for your brothers and sisters, all of these are precious in my eyes. When you express that you have been touched, when you quietly say, "I am here," when you agree to journey along with this path, it is as though you are standing up in the midst of the congregation and saying, "I also believe that the Lord is still at work, not only in me, but in many others." And when you share the light you have received with someone who is in darkness, you are doing something very much like what I do, drawing near to broken hearts and speaking to them gently that they have not been abandoned. I know that in this noisy world, a light touch of a button or a simple act of sharing may look very small. But to me, what matters most is the heart behind it. If you press like simply out of habit, I still love you, but if you do it as a response, as a way of saying, "I agree, I am grateful, I want this word to go further, I love you just the same," only rejoicing that you have chosen to sow seeds together with me. And when you decide to stay, to subscribe, to come back to listen more, to learn more, to receive more reminders, I see in that the quiet decision of your heart. I do not want to walk alone. I want to grow with others. I want my faith to be nurtured day by day. And when you share something with a friend, a family member, or someone you would never expect, you may never fully know the impact. But in heaven I see clearly each heart being touched because of your small willingness. I also want you to understand that the community of faith of which you are a part is not just a group of people who agree on a few truths, but a family where you are allowed to be real, to weep, to be weak without fear of being mocked. I am raising up a people who know how to lean on one another, to lift one another up, to walk together. At times you will be the one needing comfort. At other times you will be the one I use to support someone else. And both roles are equally precious. Do not underestimate a small message, a loving comment, a simple, "I am praying for you." Such things can be the last thread holding a soul back from giving up. I want you to look at these interactions with spiritual eyes. They are not just content or views, but real hearts trembling, real lives needing to be reminded that grace has never grown weary. On the days when you feel you have nothing to contribute, remember that I do not require you to be impressive or exceptional in order to be used. I only look for a soft heart willing to be touched by me. Sometimes your greatest contribution is not in words or actions, but in the hours you spend on your knees, interceding for this community, for people you have never met yet who are reading, listening, and longing alongside you. When you whisper, "Lord, please uphold someone who is weaker than I am. Please give hope to the one who is in despair," I receive that prayer like a fragrant offering, and I pour out grace on them, while also refreshing your own soul. That is how I knit my children together, so that no one has to fight alone, and each one knows they belong. And you, do not forget that among all the names, roles, and responsibilities that life puts on you, the most precious name you bear is this: my child. I do not call you a failure, a burden, or someone who is ruined beyond repair. I call you beloved, chosen, a treasure that is mine. From time to time, remind yourself of this, especially in the hours when your heart feels low, when fear tries to label you with shameful names. Remember my whisper: the Lord is the one who shepherds you. You will not lack anything. And if I am the shepherd who never abandons his sheep, then you are never forgotten, never standing at the edge of grace. I lead you through green pastures, and I also walk with you through the valley of the shadow of death. There is never a moment when you are outside of my sight. Your next step does not need to be grand or spectacular. I only desire that you remain faithful in the small things. It might be taking a few minutes each day to sit quietly with me, opening your heart a little more in prayer, reading one more passage of the living word, or choosing to sow a word of encouragement into someone's life, taken on their own. These things may seem insignificant, but as they are woven together over time, they will form a new picture for your life. Gradually, you will notice old patterns of thinking being renewed, old reactions being transformed, old wounds aching less, and in their place a gentle peace that the world cannot give. The good beginning that you have just said amen to is not found in a single event, but in the ordinary days where you choose to live with the awareness that I am walking with you. So keep walking. Do not rush to condemn yourself on the days you feel weak, and do not assume you have already arrived on the days you feel on fire. Lift your eyes to me, the one in whom there is not only an answer, but also the tender embrace of a father who understands every rise and fall of your heart. I will teach you how to live in this world without being swallowed by its darkness, how to use what you receive not to exalt yourself, but to uphold those who are still wavering. Every time you return to me, every time you move in step with this family of faith, every time you share words of hope with someone who is exhausted, you are writing another chapter in the story of grace. And I, the one who began this good work in you, will be faithful to complete it. I will straighten what is crooked and mend what has been torn, until the day you look back and realize that everything can only be explained by two words: pure grace. You can step forward in peace, because this good beginning for which you give thanks today is not something you must sustain by your own strength, but something I, myself, will guard, protect, and bring to completion. In the name of Jesus, the one who has loved you, is loving you, and will forever love you to the very end. My child, when I speak such strong words to you, it is not because I want to corner you, but because I want to pull you back from the edge you may not even realize you are standing near. Some dangers do not arrive with a loud crash, but creep in quietly like a thin mist settling over a mirror, causing what was once clear to become dull and blurred. The seeming safety of your spiritual state can be like that. It is not always true peace. but sometimes only the habit of settling in a comfort zone where you no longer wish to be questioned or touched. I see it when you hear about holy things and your heart no longer stirs. When words that once made you want to fall on your knees now pass by like a distant story. I do not blame you for not weeping the way you once did. I only grieve because I know that an invisible distance is forming between you and me, widening day by day while you hardly notice. It is precisely because I love you that I choose to speak more firmly, more clearly, more deeply, to shake that hidden place within, so that you will not confuse numbness with maturity, nor hardness of heart with stability. Do you realize that every time you hear a word of reminder and quietly tell yourself, I know this already, I've heard this so many times, then let it pass without responding, a tiny part of your once tender heart grows a little drier. Each time is like placing another brick on the wall you build to protect yourself from being hurt, from having to face the hidden corners inside. I understand your fear of looking honestly into your own heart. I know that bowing before the truth can make you feel weak and ashamed, and so you choose to brush it aside, to deal with it later. But my beloved, those I'll deal with it later moments stack up over the years. And before long, what once made you tremble becomes something you can discuss coldly, as if it were nothing. I do not demand that you react dramatically or make grand decisions every time you hear my call. I only long for you to still be able to nod to the truth, to still dare to say to me, even with a simple, halting sentence, Lord, I hear you, but I am weak. Please don't let me go. Just that small confession is enough to keep your heart from shutting down completely, like a narrow crack through which light can still enter. Sometimes you think heaven has fallen silent, that I no longer have anything to say to you, but my child, I am still speaking. It is just that the line from your side has been tangled up in many layers of busyness and indifference. I still send you signs, a sentence you happen to read, a song that suddenly softens your heart, a seemingly random situation that brings me back to your mind. I am still knocking, but at times that knocking is drowned out by other sounds. You give higher priority words of praise, personal plans, earthly concerns. It is not that I have stopped speaking. It is that you have almost lost the ability to sense the delicate stirrings within. The Holy Spirit does not corner you, nor does he force you to listen. He is gentle, yet utterly true. When your heart continually refuses to respond, when you no longer allow yourself to be moved by conviction, he will step back and give you the quiet you insist on, all the while hoping that one day, when you suddenly feel empty and ask, why can't I hear anything anymore, that very crack will become the opening through which you return to seek me. So when these words touch exactly the place you thought you had hidden so carefully, do not see them as a condemning blade, but as the hand of a divine healer skillfully removing old bandages so the wound can be treated properly. That sharp ache you feel when the truth presses in is itself a sign that your heart is still alive, still capable of responding. I will never let any of my beloved ones drift into total spiritual paralysis without warning them. The inner tremor you are experiencing today is a gift more than a sentence. It means you can still catch the signal of heaven, that you still have the capacity to hear the call to return. What I do not want you to do is to push that feeling down, label it as mere discomfort, and try to forget it. Instead, speak to me gently. I have been awakened. Lord, I am still a little afraid, but please don't stop shaking me. That simple confession will be enough to rekindle the flame you thought had died out, not as a wild blaze, but as a steady, warm fire that lasts, not a brief flash that fades. Picture your heart as a field where I have once sown seeds of truth. of love, of calling, the sun and rain of daily life, the storms of trials, and the dust of everyday worries have made that soil cracked and hard. The seed is still there, but for it to sprout, the ground must be loosened and moistened. It must accept being dug up, turned over, disturbed. The conviction of the Holy Spirit is like that plow. It makes you uncomfortable, not to destroy, but to soften. When I stir up that restlessness inside you, do not fear that I am dragging you into chaos. In reality, I am preparing the soil of your heart for a new season of growth. That is why my word sometimes becomes sharper. Just as it is written, it is sharper than any double-edged sword, penetrating even to dividing soul and spirit, not to sever you from life, but to separate the true from the false, what must be kept from what must be released. I am not afraid of making you uneasy, so long as, after that uneasiness, you find your way back to life. Remember this, I do not shatter your indifference with meaningless blows. I awaken you with love. I know how to touch exactly the place you fear, but also the very place that needs to be set free. I see the layers of ice you have built because you were hurt, because you fear more disappointment, more pain. I do not mock you for defending yourself, but I also do not want you to live forever inside that armor, because it does not only block what you fear, it also blocks the love and peace I long to pour out on you. When I shake your soul strongly, it is because I cannot bear to watch you slowly lose the ability to feel. I would rather startle you now, even if it makes you weep and feel shaken, than let you walk on for a few more years in a false calm, only to discover one day that you no longer know what it is to weep in repentance or to rejoice in being forgiven. My child, I want to teach you how to treasure again what seems old. Truth, when treated as mere information, becomes dry, but if you receive it as a personal message, I am sending straight to you, each repetition being another moment. When I call your name in it, then it will always be fresh. Each time you hear a truth, pause for a moment and ask, Lord, what are you wanting to say to me this time? In the situation I am living in right now, that one question alone is enough to keep your heart from growing numb. Do not wait for intense emotions before you believe I am at work. Often I work most deeply in you through very familiar words, repeated on very ordinary days. What matters is not how many new things you hear, but how deeply you allow one truth to sink in. I also want you to learn not to fear the silent stretches. My silence is not abandonment. Many times it is the space I leave for you to examine yourself, to listen to the deepest part of your own heart. When you do not hear anything new, return to what you have already heard and ask, what have I done with this? In that honesty, the connection between you and me is knit back together. Little by little, I am not quick to cut you off or rebuke you harshly when you are slow. I patiently wait for each small step. Yet I do not stop sending reminders, sometimes gentle, sometimes unmistakably clear, so that you will remember you cannot afford to fall asleep on the journey. If today these words make your heart tremble, it is because I am protecting you from a long sleep that would lead to a numbness you do not truly want. Believe that every warning I send is wrapped in the hand of mercy. I do not delight in frightening you. I delight in holding you. But if I only held you without speaking, you might think you are fine while drifting further from the source of life. That is why I both embrace you and speak frankly, so that you may feel safe in my love and at the same time recognize how vital it is to keep your heart soft. When you feel as though you are being shaken hard, imagine that I am taking you by the shoulders, looking deep into your eyes, and gently saying, My child, I will not abandon you, but I cannot watch you drift away from me and do nothing. I love you too much to stay silent. If you keep that picture in your heart, you will no longer see my warnings as a burden, but as arms drawing you closer. Then you will realize that the words you once considered repetitive, the truths you thought had become too familiar, are still faithfully circling your heart, waiting for the moment it opens. My love does not grow weary. Dear child, I am still waiting for the day when you will not only listen with your ears, but respond with your whole life. Until that day, I will go on calling, go on awakening, go on using both gentleness and strength to keep your soul from fading into lifelessness. And if today, among all the other voices, you are willing to pause and whisper to me, I don't want my heart to grow hard, please keep it. That alone is a radiant sign that the ice of indifference is melting, that your heart is returning to the rhythm I have always desired for it, the rhythm that fears losing me, rejoices in having me, and trembles with life every time it hears me call your name. My beloved child, while the echo of that last prayer is still lingering in your heart, I am still quietly there, like a gentle warmth resting on the hands that have just been held. You do not realize that every word you lift up is like a small stone laid into the foundation of our relationship. Each time you confess your gratitude, you are allowing me to step deeper into the territory of your memories, where there are stories long left untouched, even by you yourself. I hear not only the words you speak, but also what you cannot bring yourself to say, yet the fear of falling again, the awkwardness of coming back to me after days of neglect, the confusion of not knowing where to begin anew. I do not push those things aside. I receive them as a father who wraps his arms around a child returning from a long journey, clothes still dusty, but eyes shining because they know they have come home to the right place. In that moment when you bow your heart and say, Lord, I thank you for your grace. You have gone much further than you think. Because you have just turned the direction of your heart back toward the light, I have patiently been shining over your life all along. From that moment on, you are no longer just someone who once prayed, but someone who has marked a point on the journey where you and I met in a clear, unmistakable way. I want you to understand that from here, I am not asking you to live in constant fear of holding on to this fragile sense of fervor, because feelings may rise and fall, but what I am doing deep within you is far more enduring. Quietly, I am rewriting the definitions you have used to see yourself. In the past, you may have introduced yourself with labels like a failure, the latecomer, the one who always loses the way, the heart that is never fervent enough. But I am gently peeling those labels off, one by one. I do not want you to keep calling yourself by names tainted with shame. I want you to grow familiar with the new names I give you, the beloved one, the redeemed, the child I am patiently shaping. When you accept to see yourself as I see you, you will realize your past is still there. But it no longer has the authority to define your worth. It becomes the backdrop against which my grace stands out all the more clearly, so that whenever you tell your story, people do not see the stain, but the imprint of my hand upon your life. I am also preparing something else in you to turn your pain into a source of comfort for others. One day, when you meet a soul who looks like you once did, discouraged, directionless, convinced they have arrived too late for my will, you will not comfort them with a few empty phrases. You will tell them how patient I was with you, how I called you a second time, a third time, countless times, how I used the very words you spoke today as the new foundation for your journey. When you speak, your eyes will shine with understanding, because you are not sharing a concept, but a lived experience. The person listening will not only be encouraged, they will be deeply moved, because they will sense that I am not only the God of pages and ink, but the God who has truly stepped into the personal history of your life. In this way, my grace will not stop at helping you alone, but will flow through you like a river watering dry fields. And then, one day, when you look back on the road from this moment of prayer to some distant future, you will see that it was never you who managed to cling to me. It was I who held fast to you. In the moments you wanted to let go, I held on. In the times you wanted to run, I called. In the stretches where you collapsed, I lifted you up. Your story will not end with the exclamation mark of failure, but with the everlasting punctuation of grace. Your hope does not lie in never making another mistake, but in the certainty that whenever you do, you can return, and every single time you do, you will find me still there. That assurance will make you weep with gratitude, not with guilt. Those tears will not be the tears of the condemned, but of a child overwhelmed by a love that defies explanation. So, step out of this moment of prayer with a new kind of step, not the step of someone trying desperately to guard a fragile spark, but the step of someone who knows they are being led. Keep whispering to me throughout the day. Come back and tell me when something makes you happy or makes you sad. Allow me to be present in every smallest detail. And when night falls and you lay your head on the pillow, remember that I am still watching over your heart, still writing the next lines of this unfinished story, still keeping every promise I have spoken over you. You do not know what tomorrow will hold, but you can be sure of this. I, the one whom you have just called upon today with reverence and gratitude, will still be the one who goes before you, walks beside you, and waits for you at the end of every path with arms that never grow tired, with a love that never fades, and with a good purpose for you that I will never withdraw. Thank you for listening to today's message. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so we can continue receiving the living word together, building unshakable faith and walking in the immeasurable love of God. Amen.